So as you know, we recently found out of the Jewishness we have in our family. And what's interesting, we had just made a video talking about how you can have signs that you're Jewish that pop up in your culture or your things that you like, and then you find out you're Jewish. Oh, of course, well, that makes sense. That makes sense why we always did things that way. And what I want to talk about this is, there wasn't an official Jewish raising at all, because my grandfather, my mom's dad, was orphaned at what, age 8?
Yeah, yes, 8 years old, yes.
So his mother would have been the one that's Sephardic Jewish, but 8 years old, after that, she passed away in 1938, Maria Veit. And then he was went to
and then he raised to right? and then he went to, he was raised in a Catholic orphanage.
Yeah.
Because if you were below the age of 14, you had to go to the orphanage because there were 12 children. So my dad was 8. So my grandfather couldn't take care of all of them and work. So they had to go to the orphanage, and it was a Catholic orphanage. And so no, there was nothing Jewish there. There were no Jewish raisings. It was Catholic. And I think he went to a Catholic school. He was an altar boy. There was nothing Jewish about it. But yet, as they all grew up and raised, the whole family, the whole tribe of Metellos, extremely good with money, careful with money, wise in decisions, wise in purchasing. They all eventually had homes. I mean, it was just a different. I always thought.
And and I just got to interrupt and say that they were first generation Americans.
Yes.
Your grandparents moved here, so that means your father, he was the first generation.
Yes.
American.
Yes.
So that's a big deal if you can own your home. I mean, when you're an immigrant and you move here, there's a good chance you're going to start out more of at a poverty level. And especially to have 12 kids and then your wife dies, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty impressive.
Yes, because I think about my grandfather too, because he was still paying money to all these different orphanages. They were spread out in 3 different orphanages. So, and he paid money all up until the time he died. He was still paying money to the orphanages. And so still paying them. So we had all that going on. But when the family members, each one of them got out, they all had homes. And my grandpa, he not only had a house, but he also bought a farm. So it's like, how in the world did he do that? But he always grew, always had a garden. The family members, that was very important. They all, that was part of their culture. I mean, generations going back, they had gardens. They lived out of their gardens, and they always had a garden, and they had to work in the garden. They worked in the garden.
And it sounds like low overhead.
yes, because they were out there weeding
it's like this concept of like modern American concept is that you buy all this stuff to impress people and you go in debt to do that. But like in my mind, the Jewish way of doing things is you keep it low overhead, you invest your money, you're not showy about stuff, and you secretly are doing more well off than people would imagine, just because you're not trying to impress people that you don't really care about anyway. To me, that's a Jewish thing, like true at its roots. But like what you see in America modern day is the opposite of that. So, and then lastly, I just wanted to, like on the same subject here though. So, what I'm still not convinced of, or I don't know if we can be sure of this, knowing that your grandmother would have been Sephardic Jewish, and then the Metella that moved here, your grandpa Joe,
Giuseppe, yes,
he would have been mostly of Middle Eastern descent, but they both came through Italy. We don't know for sure that Maria Veit, the Sephardic Jewish woman, was born there or not, in Italy or here. But either way, I wonder what their religion was. I have to think they were Catholic. Especially if he was Italian, came from Italy, and even if she was already here in Sephardic, she was Sephardic Jewish, but how Italian was she? Do we know? She spoke Italian, right? You would think so because Grandpa Joe only spoke English.
Yes.
I mean, spoke Italian.
Yes.
There's questions there. But I was just like, what if in the off chance that your Grandpa Joe was mostly of Middle Eastern descent and your grandmother was mostly Jewish descent, what if in the off chance they actually weren't Catholic? Because you were raised Catholic.
Yes.
Everybody in that family ended up Catholic. But it makes me wonder, what was their religion originally before they came to America? When we look at the wedding picture, there's no proof that it's a certain kind of wedding, that it's Jewish or Catholic or anything. We don't really know for sure that they were even married here, do we?
You know, I'm not really for sure. I mean, we would talk to my 90-year-old Aunt Viola, and hopefully soon, hopefully soon meet with her and try to go over, after our visit, and try to go over a lot more questions with her, try to figure it out. But no, we really don't know for sure.
And it all comes down to,
I don't think anyone knows that.
Yeah, and it all comes down to your Grandpa Joe becoming widowed and his wife dying at age 38 in 1938, right?
Yes.
So when that happened, that means a lot of what we could have known went away. So,
but going over, doing research now, and with the Jewish foods and things, I mean, it even makes that much more sense, because Papa was old enough to know, the foods that his mother cooked, that there was always homemade bread, that there were jelly donuts, and there were braided breads, and so, I mean, it's that much more. Why would that be in their home? Why would all that be in their home that's so linked to the Jews? I mean, it's just that many more. It's like more connections. Like, wow, that was part of it. I didn't even realize that was part of it. All these doilies with the Star David.
And it's funny because if it weren't for us, no one in the family would know that. What we're seeing now with the phenomenon of these DNA tests is, whoever the person who was most already intrigued by family trees and DNA and all that, now we become the spokespeople for our families, which our distant families are now getting connected. That's a good stopping point. We better shoot another video because we're already 7.5 minutes into this one.